What did it feel like when it was over? When you knew
Mm,
you had to move on?
yeah.
You had a long career. Oh my God, you did what? 43 championships?
Yes.
The same as you are 43 right now, right?
Each for 1 year.
So I'm interviewing you in the right moment. 5 world championships, 9 national titles, 2 Olympic medals. Well, the moment that you knew you had to move on,
Right.
because I'm a chef and I'm gonna be cooking until you're 80. I'm 80. I hope if they don't kick me out of the kitchen before.
They
But
won't.
the active sports life has
Yeah. A
a
shelf
length
life.
of
Yeah.
time. So you already had very clear ideas of what you were going to be doing next. I think this is very important for young people that sometimes they feel like coming out of university, and what I do now,
Yeah.
or like sometimes people are not ready to huge changes, and I think people like you, it's a huge change that you are right there with the mission of competing and trying to be the best and being a winner and trying to excel in your business, in your craft. But then it's like a dramatic change.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, the day after is like you're not competing anymore. So I'm curious what it was like for you, and what we people like me and people listening to longer tables, we can learn from you. What was the day after,
Yeah.
the week after, the month after? How did you prepare yourself and how you cope with the situation?
That's a very good question, Jose. It's as if like I told you, Jose, in December, you're no longer a cook. Like that's like, there's not a lot of heads up. It's coming. It's inevitable because your body can only do so much of the training and the beating in the body. But transitions are tough for everybody, especially professional athletes. I mean, I dedicated my whole entire life from the age of 5 years old when I started skating to when I retired in 26. That's all I did was live, breathe, think about figure skating. I had a sticker above my bed, and it was a reminder. It was the sticker of the Olympics, the next Olympics. It was like 7 years from now. It was the first thing I saw every morning, last thing I saw every night before going to bed. And when it's taken away or you can't do it anymore, it's like the Olympics are over now. You're done. It's like finding your identity, like of who you are, because it used to be I'm a figure skater, that's who I am, and now it's I'm no longer a figure skater. So I went back to school, and I think that was the best way to really transition my headspace into, okay, well, I want to find my other passions in life, and I was very very lucky because school really opened the doors and figuring out what I wanted to do. I was a little bit older too. I was 26 when I retired, so I was old going back to school. So I think I was like refocusing, and I was lucky because I majored in political science and international relations, and I can't tell you how helpful it has been having those two focuses because I'm a political appointee serving overseas, and I'm grateful for that because I feel like it reinvigorated sort of my passions and trying to make a difference also in the world. So it's hard. Transitions are difficult, and you kind of have to reinvent yourself, and it's a very humbling process, and you have to recognize that you're not starting from zero. In skating, I knew that it takes a lot of hard work. It takes perseverance because I had to fall in front of millions of people watching on television, but pick yourself back up. And I feel like I had to do that in school, in grad school, and continue to keep learning. And that's the thing that I always take with me is always just be a student of life and grow as a person.
This episode of Longer Tables is sponsored by State Farm. When you get a new car or a new home, the first thing you might find yourself saying is, I cannot believe it, or this is incredible. But what you really want to say is the one thing that can get you the help you need. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm is there with the coverage you need for your car, your home, and even boats, motorcycles, RVs, and other things that matter to you. With a State Farm agent, You know someone is there to help you choose the coverage you need. With so many coverage options, it feels good knowing you can find what works best for you and your needs. And when you need ways to get help, State Farm gives you options there too, whether it is in person or on the phone with your local agent or on statefarm.com or on their award winning app. State Farm lets you do things your way. So when you need help protecting the things that matter most, remember to say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Skating has really taught me some life lessons that I take wherever I am in whatever capacity I'm serving. And I have to say that those lessons have made me a better diplomat. It definitely served me as understanding how hard it takes to work to succeed. It also teaches me about teamwork, because this is an incredible team at the embassy that you have to work together in addressing problems and doing it all together and serving our country. So I feel very lucky that I learned the hard way, sometimes physically falling on the ice like that. But it's prepared me for all of life.
I will say you are not the stereotypical diplomat. I mean, you've been in an episode of The Simpsons.
Yes.
You've been your own star in a documentary about you and your life and things that were important to you on, on so many fronts. You've been in a lot of things that had to do with TV. You are on Instagram, I will say, very actively cooking healthy
I
recipes
try.
like out by the pool with your daughter. Obviously, I guess that this was the influence on being a sports legend, and also you serve at the Office of Health, Fitness, and Nutrition
Yes.
for the White House. So I guess you always brought this with you, making sure that we promote a healthier lifestyle with better food
Right.
and more sports. And so, so my question to you is modern diplomacy changing
uh,
by putting people like you in these positions?
well, I think diplomacy certainly changes with the times, because we have to meet where people are. And I have to say that on Instagram, it's not my official Instagram for the U.S. Embassy. You would have to go to another handle, and when I post, it's about who I am. I am a U.S. ambassador. I am a mom. I enjoy cooking. I love skating. So I do have a lot of flashbacks of my past on the ice. But in terms of my role, a lot of my colleagues who are ambassadors, they all have Instagram, so that's nothing new. But I have to say, statistics in 2020, only 28% of U.S. ambassadors were women. Today, still only 7% of foreign service officers are Asian, and needless to say, not a lot of young Asian American women ambassadors that used to former figure skate and compete in the Olympics. So I guess I'm not your stereotypical ambassador, but what is stereotype? So, that's never a good thing. And I have fun on Instagram, but I take my work definitely very seriously. I'm active, and I'm engaged as a mom. But diplomacy, in a more serious note, is very complex. Sometimes it happens behind closed doors. Sometimes it happens in stuffy offices, when during heavy protocol dinners. But it happens in normal ways, and engaging in a very honest and natural way, and also being yourself. I think that's, simply put, being yourself.
Hmm. So I guess that that's part of being an ambassador. You are there obviously to represent your people, uh, ourselves,
Hmm.
America, our country. But in a way, also you're there to be telling the amazing opportunities of that country for business, for tourists,
Right.
and I guess you being because your background Chinese American in a way, no, a Chinese American. you are already naturally kind of geared to be this person that understands that you can be building bridges
Mm,
between two places.
right. Well, I feel very, very fortunate and very honored to be appointed by the president, President Biden, to serve in this capacity. I feel like my years of competing in the Olympics and world level for over 2 decades helped me prepare for my current role. Um, as the ambassador here, there are a number of things that we focus on, and I have to say, no day is like another. I think there's a lot of misconceptions of what diplomats do in serving our country. And
So tell us, what is a day for Ambassador Michelle Kwan in
oh,
Belize?
well, this week, for example, is a very busy day and a busy week. We have a donor coordination event where we have other developing, we have donors in this country that represent other, like the EU, we have Brazil, we have other countries here, of course, and coordinating. But like I said, every day, no day is like another. It's not like the new TV show, The Diplomat. It's very different. We don't have makeup artists. We don't wine and dine only. It's definitely a 24/7 hour job on the call. I oftentimes think that we're managing tough situations and also avoiding crises at times. I'm meeting with leaders, government officials, civil society, and also work closely with the embassy team. Focus us on issues like you just talked about. There's over 1 million American tourists that come through this country, so building people-to-people ties. You also mentioned joint prosperity and making sure that we expand our bilateral trade, and then, of course, our security cooperation. It could run in, for example, we're expanding the capabilities of Belize Coast Guard, encountering shared threats, which include migrations and transnational criminal organizations and so on. So it's a full-time job.